if it works. Who knows? Oh, is it? Oh, snap. It's working. Okay, so, hey, everybody in Twitch land. I'm Nick. I'm Forever DM. And I just wanted to introduce you guys to New of Vernatu, a homebrew campaign full of shenanigans and world building and a buttload of old hags for some reason. Um, I do have four of our six players, well, three of the five players with me. And I just want to go over a quick recap. We're only about six sessions in. Just a quick recap so everybody's caught up and just ask my players about how they feel about everything. Guys, if you want to introduce yourself, selves, language.
Hmm.
No one?
Um, my name is, well, you can call me Chili. Um, my pronouns are she, her, and I am playing the bird Oneki, who is Goliath. She's very big, very strong. She grew up in a very rich family, basically being trained in my version of what a Goliath trophy wife would look like, which means a lot of politics, a lot of uh, barbarian training. She can definitely like kill a man pretty easily, as you would want, and I think a Goliath trophy wife. And I'm having a lot of fun so far. It's very nice to play a rich girl bard Goliath with ADHD.
All right, what about the other two? What are you guys doing?
First
Want to
of
go?
all, let me get a little bit more alcohol as soon as I'm done mixing this drink.
Well, while he's doing that, I guess I'll jump in. What's up, y'all? My name is JB. But for the sake of this, you can call me Yzaile. That is spelled Yzaile. My character is a half elf, half orc sorcerer fighter that is the grandchild of a once famous and land renowned champion by the name of Osiris. I chose to be a half elf, half orc sorcerer because, well, to be honest, I wanted to create a character that wasn't a direct descendant of my former character, and I wanted him to be kind of a I'm trying to live up to the name that my grandfather left me, and I'm trying to live up to the expectations that my creed and my clan have for me in my own way, while at the same time still trying to live up and be as great as my grandfather once was. Because Osiris was a I don't take no shit type character. Quite literally was smacking around people and tried to kill a in our DM's words, a how would you describe her? What was the
Oh,
character's name from what was the character's name from Edna Mode MILF esque elf character. I tried to kill her. I tried to kill her. And I quite literally would not take no for an answer. I had to be subdued. So I'm the grandchild of that, and
Yeah.
I'm trying to just live up to those expectations and make him proud, even though he's dead.
Keyword
so
is
wholesome.
proud. All right. The last of my murder hobos. Yes.
All right. So, it's, well, my name is Isaac, and I play a Minotaur Echo Knight by the name of Buli. And this character in particular is the result of the last campaign, where my old character founded a hidden village and trained ninja light warriors so that they could defend the land against shenanigans. Because the gods in this world just don't really care too much about humans unless their throne is challenged. But anyways, so my boy Bully specializes in being a menace to society. As you heard our forever DM explain, I am quote unquote a murder hobo. My character was born and bred and trained all his life on how to kill. He's good
Hmm.
at it. He enjoys it. And up
Yes.
until recently, it's literally all that he's ever known. But I'ma save the rest for the recap.
Also, before we get any deeper into the recap, I just want to know. I want to note for the people that yeah, he's not lying. Him and myself, we are two halves of the same idiot that make up the murder hobos of this campaign. We are the two like he does his best to try to keep us separated as much as he can during the campaign because he knows together we're just gonna fuck up everything, and that's not even an exaggeration. We have quite literally fucked up his plans for us. He had a freaking filler episode that was done with nothing but death, death, and death. We killed everything in our wake. He had an entire cave set for us, and what did we do? We blew that some bitch up.
You
Instead
would
of
have got me
act,
enough to kill a gnome.
Instead of
That's the first
exploring
thing
the
Rob.
cave of wonders,
instead of exploring it, we just blew that
they
motherfucker
just
up. We
set
said, "Nah, we
dynamite
ain't got time."
outside the entrance and just starved them to death.
Yep.
It was a time.
he
What
is.
about the one time you made another cave and instead of blowing it up, we put poisonous smoke inside and aired that bitch out, literally.
Yeah. And then
I
y'all
just want
got
to say,
aired
I
out.
feel like I want to say, I feel like he is effectively traumatized because now he tries to hit us with some overpowered bullshit any chance he gets. I just,
Wow.
I say it out of love. I say it out of
Let's
love.
tell the truth about our forever DM. I'm the reason certain weapons are banned at the table, and I am banned from playing a bard.
No, no,
Personally,
no,
I
no.
am banned.
You're banned from playing the bards for totally different reasons, and you know it.
It's
So,
because he's mad. It's because he's mad. He's about to turn a bard from a sexy slut into a slut hobo.
Listen, canonically, it makes sense that if my character were to
no.
die, he'd come back as an incubus on violence.
This is why I can't have nice things. So,
Yeah, nah.
with that in mind, so New of Vernatu is actually a direct sequel to the first homebrew campaign that we all played together. It was called the Tower of the Bound. Essentially, there was a Fey king, and he was just fucking up a tower, and everybody, the party, had to save the tower, and they did. And they ended up in this world, and there was a nice Legend of Korra time skip, where we end up in a world, and it's I call it Afropunk because in most cases there's technology, but the technology is rooted in magic. And I don't know how to write other than item, but make it black. Make it blacker. So,
That's
so
a good story.
incidentally, not on purpose, but it just happened this way. Every player in this campaign identifies as black. So that's also a plus. No matter just off the top of the dome plus. But New Vernatu in itself is split into multiple continents. There's assorted gods, different hierarchical systems, different societies and customs, and the players have to navigate each thing. Boo Lee, for instance, has a whole world unto himself in his village, while Yizel has his family's compound, and Oneki, the rich girl, has the upper echelon of society within her country. So everyone has their own thing, and it's a balance. And I've always been a fan of world building, and thankfully the players I have, and thank you guys, are always willing to help when it comes to world building. They'll just like, hey, I have an idea for this. I'm like, fuck yeah, let's do this shit. Yeah. Like Oneki, we actually were talking before about the different customs within your home country's tribes and how they can apply to the country that your player comes from. And I'm like, that's really awesome. Can you like explain more about that?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Ugandan. I grew up in Uganda, was raised in Uganda. My entire family is Ugandan. And to hear my family tell it, we actually are like far descendants of one of the royal families at home, like not in any way that like I could ever become like in line for the throne, but like technically speaking, like we're related to the ruling royal family, or at least to their ancestors. Um, and it's just I really love Afrofuturism. I read a lot of Octavia Butler. I read a lot of River Solomon, who is a non-binary writer who does a lot of really fascinating like Afrofuturist work. Nnedi Okorafor. I just really love Afrofuturism, and so I'm always trying to think of stories where I'm blending that into things, even when I'm playing in D&D or writing myself. Like I wrote a bunch of Dora Milaje stories that are like centered around like incorporating my thoughts about like what a future Uganda would look like into the way that the like Wakanda is built in the comics, because I do feel like I really love Wakanda. I think it's like one of the best Pan African symbols that we have, just because it's so interesting to look at it that way. But yeah, I actually like it's very funny because like the food that Oneki loves is food that I eat a lot while I'm living in Canada now, rather than food that I would eat at home. She eats like jollof rice. Oxtail is a thing that we both like. My dad loves oxtail so much. Like that's the thing that's the thing. But like a lot of the food that she loves and that I've incorporated into the character from like West Africa rather than East Africa. But a lot of the way that I think of her growing up, the way that I think of her home is based on Ugandan traditions. So like the way that the royal family functions in her nation, I think of as being very much like the way that the Bunyoro, which is my father's tribe, the way that their kingdom was built, and the way that the marriage relationships would work for people in the nobility there. And I don't know, it's just really fun for me. Like it's very much kind of just like I love this character and she's a part of me, so of course like her culture is my culture, basically.
And that's really awesome. And learning about new cultures is always a pleasure. And it's the world is better when we can learn about other people's cultures. And I actually want to write a dissertation about how D&D traces back to like the African tradition of oral history passing, and just being able to bring more African aspects into this game that's, made by black people in a usual game society where there's not a lot of us. Just makes it just makes it so much better and so much more fun. And I really thank you for giving us the history lesson and giving us more information about your culture and your family. And I hope I hope I can do it some justice coming in the sessions going forward. And it's just really it's awesome.
I think like you've always been a great DM, Nick, and like the thing that I think about it is just like the great thing about playing in like a group of players that are all black and like having a DM is black who is black is that I really do feel free to just kind of like insert things, like even though like you are not Ugandan, like I assume you've never been to Uganda, like just having the kind of space to be like, this is the way in which like my blackness is different than your blackness. Like I love being able to share that with people of the diaspora. When I was in university, actually like used to organize like African diaspora like talks, just because I was just like, here is how we are the same and here's how we're different, and let's like conversate about that. Like let's talk about it. Let's like explore the differences, because the differences are so interesting and they make us all like feel at home. And so like the thing that I've really found is that like when you're interacting with people of the African diaspora and like, of like African American descent, I just really feel at home a lot of the time. And so it gives me the space to like say like, hey, can we do this? Can we like insert this? Can I do this? Like it's so much easier for me to just like put myself out there in terms of like changing the story, you know?
Oh, 100%. I call them my senpais, but the people I've been learning D&D from, most of them are people of color. And the one thing they've taught me is that, if the player comes to you with an idea, just don't shoot it down. Say yes. And D&D at its core is about collaborative storytelling. And if it was just my story, I feel like I'm forcing my ideas onto you, but we can all in some way add to it. It's like a big pot of gumbo, you know. Everybody brings their
Hmm.
dish and everybody just adds to it and makes the flavor, you know, better. Some days we're committing more murders, and other days we're doing more role playing, and
The
it
To be
murders
works.
are always there.
It works. It balances out.
to be fair to the murder hobos, like their murder hoboing does give me like plenty of opportunity for like good RP trying to get them out of trouble. So like I'm always grateful.
And you missed the best
Are
role play
beneficial.
episode we've had so far. Yet last
And
week.
that's no cap. That actually is no cap. You would have seen literally both me and Bully be out of our own character. Like we were the most uncharacteristic we've ever been.
So
Dead ass
I
literally
Ah!
had
could.
to make him
So
look
how do you
trouble.
guys want to do this? I can start from like session 6 back to 1, or I can start from 1 and then lead up to the wonder and the amazement and like the fucking golden session that was session 6. Like, how do you guys want me to do this?
I say give us the backstory to lead up to what happened last week, just so one, you can give the audience a chance to say, hey, what's up, and figure out what happened. And two, that'll give Chili a chance to re-listen so that way what happens last week will make a little bit more sense in the context of why we were uncharacteristic.
Okay, perfect. We actually need to start from session 1 then, and also talk about the filler episode we had because I got a great idea from because of young Isaac Boo Lee sent me something on TikTok. So okay, we'll just start from session 1, and if you guys remember anything, please feel free to chime in. If you're like, hey, it happened this way, I'm totally fine with that. It is what it is. It's This is just like D&D collaborative storytelling.
I will never forget the thick thighs of Miss Ma'am. Ever.
I
Yeah,
the
so
way
I
that
can't
you
wait.
almost got us killed
I know almost.
over that
Oh wait,
damn
yeah,
woman.
it's definitely almost trying to be a horny motherfucker. Almost got our cheek clapped. No pause, no lube. He really almost got us split in half. Like I still hold a little bit of aggression at that. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I like we put it under the bridge, but like my God, I still have a little bit of like, dude, he literally left me to get hurt by this bitch and then continued to try to shoot his shot. He
So
continued.
Oh,
I was bleeding
What he
out.
was to die for?
I was bleeding out, and he's still over here shooting his shot.
and
I
I,
didn't
fucking
let you
oh,
die.
Oneki comes in
Okay, I
clutch
didn't let you
once
die.
again with the healing spell through the peephole.
oh, that
truly,
man. I
truly, the way that I abandoned our mission in that session is proof of how chaotic neutral my characters are. Because I just like fuck a mission. I want to leave. I don't want to do this anymore. I want to go home.
So,
I'm used to
I want
protecting any
to leave.
Fleet member. The way
all
she
right,
was just
so we're gonna start from the tippity top. So, New Vernatu is the land created by the tower not only falling to the Fae King, and again, the Fae King from the original campaign. In most cases, fairies are Fae folk. I would say they're usually magic, you know, dark magic, light magic, tricksters, right? In this case, this Fae was a Fae of technology. You know, something that in my mind, a person. So I see the Fae as like the people who are stuck in the past. You know, not wanting to deal with technologies. Like, oh well, the old-fashioned way's better. This Fae is the person who comes into that society with an iPhone and is like, hey, look, I can play music and watch TV at the same time. Crazy, right? So our heroes from the way back defeated that Fae and essentially created a whole new world on a different plane of existence, which is New Vernatu. Our players, Vesden, Izel, Oneki, Hyphen, and Buli, just happened to meet on an airship going to Estrava, which is functionally, and I relate a lot of this to the Legend of Korra because I just enjoy the show. But it's Estrava is essentially Republic City times like 50 in a sense. In my That's the way I've written it. Like it's a small country. Like think Australia if it was Republic City, minus the giant spiders and kangaroos. But add the kangaroos back because kangaroos kind of rock. And these people all meet on an airship that's being robbed, and they, of course, because they're people who want to do the right thing at their core, more than likely, save the airship. They meet the guild master. They join a guild, and they actually have to give a drop of blood to join the guild because the way the guild system works is they've cataloged every spell, every homebrew, every class, subclass, all that into their systems. So once you become admitted to it, you can essentially become any class by using your membership card, selecting what you want, pressing enter, and it kind of rewrites your DNA or rewrites your very essence magically so you can know how to do certain things. Like if you've ever seen Konosuba, the way they learn new spells, they have to use their guild cards, have someone show them the spell, and then they can use their points to essentially learn it on the fly. And yeah, they have to practice, but they know how to do it. And this is the way. So I don't know if you guys know, but in D&D, you can become any class, you can become any subclass, but it's never narratively told how a wizard also becomes a barbarian. Like, how does this nerd become a barbarian out of the blue because the player wants to be a wizard barbarian or warlock barbarian? It's never.
I know that one.
It's never really explained, right? But using the guild.
Unless you're watching Fantasy High.
True. God dang, Brandon Lee Mulligan, that man is a delight. So, Konosuba's way of leveling up and learning spells makes the most sense to me, D&D wise, because hey, you have it cataloged. It just magically rewrites your essence. So now this wizard knows how to Hulk out and slap somebody when they're out of pocket. And it makes sense. So that's how the guild system works. And essentially that's session 2. Now, the way that I've been doing is that there's a cold open for every session and an epilogue for every other session, because in most cases, from what I've seen and heard, the way most campaigns work is the world only revolves around the players, and I like the idea of the world goes on when the players are asleep. And currently, there's a mystery cabal doing things behind the scenes. Like, there's a doctor trying to create a superhuman soldier. There's a League of Assassins who are trying to kill a political figure.
There's something shady going on with our guild master. I haven't forgotten, Nick. Like, I remember
there's
session 1, okay? Like,
potentially
I'm keeping
something.
track of that plot line.
Ooh, there's potentially something shady going on with the guildmaster. Maybe, possibly, who knows?
So just for the record, I definitely threatened because I, and along with my good buddy Bully over here, didn't want to join the guild. But seeing as there were certain things that we wanted to do that weren't very legal if we weren't a part of the guild, we were like, it's in our best interest to join the guild. But I did make a point to threaten our guild master that something shady is going on with. I did threaten them that if something crazy pops off, or if I feel like there's something crazy that's popping off and I know it's them, I will not hesitate to put 2 through them.
Yes.
And I mean that in a literal
mind
sense.
you, they were level 3 threatening a level 20, but yes.
You say that like level 1. You say that like we didn't do that when we were at level 1.
That's
Literally, in
very
our first
true.
campaign, we threatened level 20s at level 1, and we did it with a smile on our face. So
Yeah,
you say that like that's supposed to be something different
there
for
were
us.
less consequences in campaign 1 because I was still learning. There's consequences now.
I want to say just as far
Okay,
as
you
my
said that like
background goes about joining the guild. The way my characters are written, his loyalty is completely to his warrior village. That's literally all he's been bred and trained in. And at first, he didn't trust the guild. Anything that he's got to give up traces of his DNA for, Yeah, no, my character was not rocking with that at all
Which
until
hyphen
he gets
is
this.
also not with the giving up their DNA because they're actually being hunted by hags because the hags want to turn them into a hag too. So they're in the same boat as Booley.
Until my character got his orders from his village chain of command, he was not going to join that guild. That is the only surefire way to get my character to do something.
So
You might not
fun
like how he does it, but he'll attempt.
so fun fact, and this was written into it, and I don't know if you noticed, Booley, but Shanti's actually trained in your village.
Oh, that's the guild leader is
Yes, the
trained in
guild
Booty's
master.
village.
So Shanti, the guild master's name is Shanti. She, again, I've coded everyone, everybody black. That's the motto for this world for the most part. Is everybody's black unless they're proven guilty. Um,
It's
so
a good thing if
Shanti is a
Marathon
black woman with loose curls and dark skin because unfortunately we live in a color society where lighter skin tones are appreciated more than darker ones. So anytime I write someone, they're definitely darker. They it, and this is a very toxic way to say this, but it's very historical. They would fail the paperback test every time.
Yay.
So
I'm kind of glad
Shanti
you did.
is actually a Dro halfling. Her father, no, her mother's was a giant, and her father was a half elf Dro, and they fell in love. And her mom's from the witch country, just like Vesden. And this woman has been alive for a good chunk of time, but she still looks young because black don't crack.
The way that you specified that these characters are black hole written, I'm appreciative because it's not above my character to take a wagon full of explosive and crash it into white on, I mean, elven owned village.
Sir, how do you know the big bad evil guy was that? No. So yes, Shanti's actually a member, or at least has trained in Booley's village. And I'm just gonna give a spoiler for everyone involved: is that Shanti has met every player from the every character from the first campaign. To some degree, has met all of them.
Wait a minute.
Huh.
So she knows my granddad,
Yep,
and that is also why she was like, just like him. Like,
yep. See, it all
mm.
Question:
look.
did we meet her when we went to Dionysus? I know there was some girl that we met on the beach, and I crushed
There's
on her for a little.
so there's a lot of people. There's a lot of carryover of side characters that I know none of you probably remember that are going to play a big part in this campaign. And just from reading books and watching movies, I like when those little details in the background become big things later on. So that's why I'm like, I'd say these cold opens and I make sure to emphasize certain things. I want you guys to remember because I want these oh really moments like Shanti meeting all of your players from the first campaign. Right.
You have so much reliance on my memory, Nick. I just got diagnosed with ADHD.
See, that's why
Like,
that's why I write everything down and I share it with you guys because I know going from playing like every week to every 2 weeks, like once a month, we forget everything. So I know, but I try to help. So yes, Bully, Shanti knows Maverick. She knows your Grandmaster. She's probably changed your diapers for all I know.
I mean, if you gotta change a Warforged diapers, there's something that might need to look at in the design table. But anyway,
Wait. Hold on, no. Cause now I'm curious.
Mm-hmm.
Did you specify in your little notes how she knows my granddad?
I have okay. this is me going my overboard because I just love lore and story and world building. I for every NPC, well, major NPC you meet, I have their entire life story written down in my notes. So I have for every I so also Shanti, the black guild master who's a bad bitch, gay as fuck, has a wife who's the guild marm who babysits all the guild members. Her name is Alexa because I just want to see if my robots in my house like peek up and have some type of interest when I say her name. But for Shanti, I have everyone she's ever met, everyone she's trained under, her wife, all that jazz. So if you
Well,
want the
then
details of how she
I
knows your grandpa, you're gonna have to
I would
wait
like
on it.
to.
Now,
Oh,
see,
that's
why
bull.
would you tell me that she's gay? Because now, like, I'm so forgiving of evil gay women. Like, do you know how evil she's gonna have to be for me to turn her into the authority?
Ma'am,
Like, I would excuse a certain amount of murder, like just off the top. Just like, listen, by lesbian solidarity.
ma'am,
That's
the heads
tragic.
where look, I'm headish. Being head is fucking that's the ghetto. Shanti don't deserve that.
Not the ghetto.
I'm in the ghetto.
In
Ra-ta-ta-ta.
the
Hey, I have a
ghetto.
question. I have a question for our forever DM.
Wait, what?
I have a question for you
Yes, sir.
and for the listeners,
Okay.
just to spite their curiosity.
Yes.
Is the immovable rod banned from this world?
We'll see.
Say yes, Nick. Say yes, it's bad.
I've
Don't
already
give us
No.
that.
Oh no.
I've already
I think I
banned
already know where you're going with this. Bully, no.
I've already
Don't you
banned this.
dare.
We'll see. We'll see. I'll tell you that only for the
Oh
sake of fear. I've
no.
already banned your antimatter rifle because I can't have two dual wielding bullies just firing off 10 D10 every fucking 2 seconds.
Also, let's specify the reason and let's also specify right now the antimatter rifle is a canonic, like that is a indie book game or weapon in the game. That's not a homebrew.
It is.
But because of how fucking just unmitigatedly like destructive he was with this thing, he literally was like, "No, I'm not doing this." In our freaking filler episode where it was literally just me, Bully, and our forever DM, he literally made the one that I picked up blow up in my face because he was like, "I'm not about to let two of you have one of these. No, I refuse."
No.
It's only 6d8 worth of damage, and I can only attack but so many times per turn.
Sir, I refuse to just essentially give you target practice. I can't wake up as a DM like, okay, let me give my players target practice.
Yes, you
Fuck.
can. You're lying.
Okay, I
How am I
could. I don't
supposed to
want to.
make the citizens of New Vernatu feel safe if I can't kill whatever's threatening them?
Is your
Exactly.
goal to make the citizens of Norman not to feel safe?
But aren't you the one threatening them?
Only a little bit.
They can't prove that I'm the one.
Truly, hearing you say that is like every time Bakugo is just like, I'm going to be the number one hero. Like, sir, think about
Sir,
what's happening.
you're not the hero.
I'm
So,
only trying to blow up both their train and their airship full of civilians. Like,
so,
it's apples to oranges.
so in session 2, you guys get your first mission. So in my first campaign, it was definitely a railroad. It was a rail shooter situation. But in this campaign, I want you guys to feel like you have more freedom to choose. So in the guild, you guys have a choice of different jobs you can do for money, and everybody gets to, as a group, decide, hey, do we want to go do this or this or this? And from there, however you want to finish the job is totally up to you guys. I do give some parameters like you can't kill this person, but everybody else is fair game. You need to collect these things, that type of deal. But for the most part, I try to make it as sandboxy as possible. And in session
Every time I
2,
choose something
you guys
remotely
decide
peaceful, I
to go kill bandits from the small farming town on somewhere in the farming district of Estrava. And our resident glass cannon, Ezel, the session ends with him getting an anklet, anti-magic anklet put on him, so he can't do magic anymore. And that was a time. That was a time.
Was that hold on? Was that
Wait,
before?
pause. I was gonna say the fun part about that is just that was also the same session you found out my character can essentially fly, because you thought you could get me an anklet on the ground, and I had to reread to you that my character can appear anywhere within 60 feet of my boy.
Yeah, I have to learn to start reading your character. If I don't read anyone's character sheets, I need to read Ezel's Broken Homebrew and your character sheet straight up.
That. You said we were going to talk about it, and you never messaged me, so I don't want to hear it.
No, I'm gonna let you have it as is until we get off this train. If you survive the train, but then we're gonna talk about it because
Oh no, I've already changed it. It's too late. I've already changed it to nerf it because as a DM and as someone who aspires to one day be a DM, I know how I would feel and I would want it to have, and I changed it to what I feel as a DM I would be okay with having as a level 1 homebrew spell.
so 2d6.
No, it still does the same amount of damage. It's only I can only fire off 1 per day, and then until I get an attuned tattoo, and then I can only shoot off 1 per long rest. But the damage that I take, is still the same.
Sir,
So I,
the D. Okay, sidebar. I just want everyone to know that this man makes consistently broken homebrew, but it's always
okay,
anime
because you
based.
make consistently broken characters that I have
thought
to
we
find a
had
way to
an
fucking.
understanding where if you make regular homebrew where a level 1 spell does 2d6 max and doesn't have a DC check of 24, I'll just give you regular kobolds to shoot at.
Oh BS.
Hey, I'm a man. Look, I'm a DM of my word. If we come to an agreement, I will stick to that agreement until you're at a higher level where it makes more sense for you to have 8d12.
Fine.
You had us fighting level 10s at level 3.
Because
Exactly.
some people had broken.
You.
Because some people have broken homebrew and a broken regular character somehow. Because I don't know how you fucking max your characters.
Look, man.
I don't
all
know
I'm
how
say
you
is
max. It's not even min maxing. It's max maxing.
damn right it does. Because I'm
Sir,
magic like that.
I was
there
talking
are
about Boo
ways
Lee,
to
not your
control
broken
my
homebrew,
character's
sir.
parameters.
So back to so session 3 is actually where we get our first broken homebrew on my part, just to show my players, and I quote, he did this because of us. I see the error of my mistakes.
Oh no, it wasn't. It definitely wasn't me seeing the error of my mistake, but it was at least enough to show me what it feels like to get hit with my own spell, and enough to realize, oh, I'm really about to have to turn up on this motherfucker. Okay, bet, challenge accepted. So to be honest, that next homebrew that I made was because of that, in direct defiance of that. So it's your fault.
So I guess we need to come to an agreement that I won't railroad you with level 50 characters, with creatures, if you don't make broken stuff.
All right, so we need to pause for the listener.
Yes.
So this man had us fighting a level 10 as a level 4. I won't specify what, but you may have guessed already if you were listening closely.
Were we level 4? Were we still level 3?
No,
yeah,
we were level 3. I think we
My
were
ass
level
was getting
2.
kicked. I don't know about you two were fine-ish. My ass was getting kicked. I'm pretty sure we were level 3.
I don't think we were even being a level 3 at that point.
So up until this point,
I can give more details because this session 3 leads into session 4 where all this goes down. So in session 3, they go into a cave. Our resident bard Oneki has to save Ezel and Bu Li from a mimic. So essentially, I found a homebrew for a mimic that is a room. It looks like a regular room until you're inside it, and then you're melting because something's like just digesting you slowly.
To be fair, I could have escaped at any point, but I was not leaving my homie to die by himself.
Oh yeah, Bu Li could have just left. Like he can switch places with his echo He could just left. But Ezel would have been screwed. He would have died. It would not have been a glorious death that his grandfather would have been proud of.
See, again, and then we come right. Let's see how it keeps going full circle.
No.
You see how it keeps coming full circle? He continued to put me in these situations where I have to create
yourself
broken ass thing.
No. I warned you about going into the room, and what did you do? You went into the room. I do my best.
I went into the room because that's my character's nature to go in head first because ain't nothing about to fucking tell him to not do something.
So even his will to survive is gonna.
His will to survive would have been strong, but his death would have been all on you.
Actually, speaking of that, I'm really excited for the first person to die, only because the story I have to essentially mitigate that, I'm really excited about because.
Well, I'm actually.
Could we go to the land of the dead and see Myrelu?
Why'd you? Spoilers.
Because.
Sorry.
That's okay. So, fun fact. That's if any of you die. So, remember, Booley mentioned earlier that the guild has certain perks. You can't. There in New Vernatu, there's the land of the dead that has witch country. It has like the 6 rings of hell, and all of it is led by the god of the god of death and the underworld, who's actually married to the god of the sea, who they were rivals in the first campaign for the attention of the original goddess of death, Ereshkigal.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, I remember these characters now.
Yeah.
I have to ask.
Huh?
I'm not even gonna lie. Sorry.
So
Maverick
in my
was like voodoo dude. So would he be chilling over there
who?
in the afterlife?
Wait, who would? Maverick?
I'm curious. Would he be chilling with his voodoo powers or voodoo inspired little worship, or would he be chilling with like the war god?
So
Because he
the
started
way
worshiping
I
him,
have
started
the
having-
so the way I have the Land of the Dead written is that each, and I call it the Rings of Hell, but not actually the Rings of Hell. That essentially, because New Vernatu knows it has multiple gods, multiple pantheons, multiple religions, all souls do end up in the Land of the Dead, but they each end up in their own subdivision. I would say that's the best way I could refer to it. So every pantheon, every religion, every like religious sect has their own area within the Land of the Dead that supports their version of the afterlife, and they don't necessarily intersect unless they want to.
You heard it here, folks. You heard it here first, folks. My character will not be seeing the gates of heaven.
So
Mine knew it wasn't seeing the gates of heaven before death. Like he knew everything that he did. He knew all of the different people that he put through a wall, through the ground, through a ceiling, through other people. He knew what it was. He knew what it was. He already knew.
So
What was it? Session 2? Like we were fighting bandits, and I managed to capture this bandit alive, and then extracted information from him, all nice and fair.
Excuse me. No, I extracted information. I extracted information from him. Please don't. Please, I do not roll well in battles. You cannot take my RP accomplishments from me, otherwise I have nothing.
yo,
You guys took hostages. I would have no right to kill them. But y'all want to keep
No,
sparing the hostages that I take.
Let the record show that I am continually the reason that we cannot extract information from hostages because I don't give them an opportunity to have hostages.
that is
Yeah,
true.
well,
Maybe,
back-
you know how hard it is to give like beneficial information, like organic information to people when all you kill are the creatures that will give you the organic information.
Not even that. Do you know how hard it is to get information when you're trying to play good cop and the bad cop is over your shoulder saying that they're gonna just kill the person anyway? Like, let me
I'm just
lie.
killing.
Reward these NPCs with gasoline. I took
I'ma just
4
kill
years
them.
of criminal justice to learn how to do that.
I'm just
Sir, this isn't Law and Order SVU.
I'm gonna kill them.
This This is Law and Order: Criminal Intent.
What you have to understand from my culture, a honorable death is the death in combat. If I let you live, that is so disrespectful.
But is it combat if you've already tied them up and you're pouring gasoline on them?
He deserves the
Truly,
warrior's death.
That's not.
I
That's
just
not
remembered
combat.
you did that.
That's
He's on the
target
battlefield and
practice.
he's taking damage. That sounds like combat to me.
That's target practice.
How did I
Well, I
forget
most
you
certainly
did
didn't
that
tickle him.
to that poor man?
The
I
man
didn't
did
tickle him to death.
nothing.
He
And
raised
truly,
swords against my companions. He's lucky all I got to do was break his foot.
That part.
He is so lucky.
That part.
He raises musty, scraggly old cobalt arms to harm my fellow friends. Like, I could have ripped his chest open and ate his heart. Like, oh God.
That part.
You did.
truly, the fact
in
that they
session
let us
6.
into the fact that they let us into the guild after like an examiner watched you do all of that is proof that the guild is like corrupt at its core, probably. Like that should have been our first sign. Now that I'm hearing all of this again, I'm just like, maybe
Oh,
maybe we should be suspicious about how much we got away with in that
Well, keep
test.
in mind, like, my
speaking.
character's a Minotaur, and, like, canonically, like, we're all literally part demon. So we have no qualms about this. Like, my culture, even if I wasn't raised by a bunch of ninjas, would still be barbaric by any other standard. Just because that's literally my character's nature, as far as race goes.
So speaking of death, all circles back to 2 points of in the land of the dead, you can't go there unless you were born there and you're coming back. So, and this is going to be a later plot point, but it's not really a spoiler. So, if you were born in which country, you have to go back yearly to present an offering to the witch mother, who is actually the hag from the land of Asgard from the first campaign.
Oh, I liked her.
Question.
Yes.
So you've mentioned the Land of the Dead has checkpoints and guards and things, and that they check passports.
Yep.
There's technically nothing stopping me from getting to that gate without a passport, and then I don't know, unaliving myself so that they can't stop me from going into the Land of the Dead.
See, that's fun and all, but do you really want to wait in that long ass TSA line as a ghost?
Who
Because
says I have to wait?
Because you still see. Here's the thing. Here's the kicker. Because the worst thing in life is the red tape of bureaucracy. So it's 20 times worse for the Land of the Dead. Being guild members lets you expedite that process. But if you're just a regular degular individual or a ghost, you're waiting in line for what feels like an eternity just to sign papers and get checked and wait in line again. It's a very tedious process that if you weren't guild members, you'd have to go through that, and that's 2.5 hours of a session waiting in line and being told to stay in line, sir.
Respectfully, do you know what's gonna happen when my character gets bored and figures out he can haunt the other NPCs of this world?
You're going to be detained and anally searched and probably enjoy it.
I might enjoy it, but anyway, like,
Yo!
See?
Yo! No, sir! Where did that even come from?
the prostate. That's where that came from. That's where I come from.
This is a hate crime against me specifically.
Well, in that case, never mind. Keep going then, bro.
So, in session 3, you guys survived thanks to the bard who sweet talked a mimic, got out of that, and you meet. So, mind you, they're in a cave, they're in a mine, they poison gas the mine, so the characters they would fight in the cave come out and get jumped and stomped. They go deeper into the cave, into the mine.
Wait. I'm sorry.
Yes.
But before you even mention that, no, we need to talk about how I freaking body slammed one of the characters that came out and that was it. Like they had no other alternative but to have everything just destroyed.
So,
I also want to mention for the culture
yes.
that us poisoning that cave stems almost back from like Native American tactics. Here in the South, there's this tree called the manchineel tree. It's the most poisonous thing in the world. Like, look it up on your own time. But used to be certain Native American tribes would take poisonous plants and things of that nature, and they would burn them upwind from enemy camps, and then the poisonous smoke clouds would kill their enemies. That's the origin of chemical warfare. And I was like, well, my character rocks with tribes, and I think that's a tactic that he would employ. I think we'll go upwind of this cave and just guarantee they're gonna have a bad time.
And it worked. They did have a bad time. So
Yeah, they did.
they get deeper into the cave and they see um essentially an NPC that they met earlier within the session and didn't really cross their minds, and he is surrounded by mist, which in D&D you guys know, Wizard of the Coast, if there's mist involved, you're going to have a bad time. Little frogs hop out of the mist and essentially unalive themselves on the blades of Ezel and Buli. And this causes a chain reaction where the frogs transform from their frog forms to the forms of Buli and Ezel, and they start hooking.
Yeah, perfect clones. Well, I wouldn't say
Perfect.
perfect because
So I
while
explained
they
to
have
them that the way they worked is that at the time of their death, those little mimics from who knows where, you'll find out, create perfect copies of you in that instance.
And not necessarily perfect, just more of an annoyance, if anything. But I digress.
they
Someone
quote
got
unquote
shot in the
get our
chest
clues and memories,
and
but
was
they
down
also
bad.
get down to
Not gonna specify who.
Oh no, that's fine, bro. Because when I
Did we
come
ever
back and I
establish
What's
like the intelligence of those clones, by the way?
because when we talk about it, he's not gonna like what we have to say. I promise you, he won't. But he can continue.
wow, this is not gonna end well for me. I've
it's not.
I've
It's
literally
not.
done nothing.
Oh bullshit. Stop the cap. Stop the cap.
Sir,
Did we ever establish if those clones could just be like walking around in the world and like intercept us on a mission and like
yes.
fully like hold conversations with us? Because like I feel like that's something I should know
Yes, we
before our
actually
next
did.
session.
I did establish that they could be anywhere at any time.
I don't feel like we've been taking that threat seriously at all.
Oh, we haven't. You want to know why? Because I don't give a damn. It doesn't matter.
I
If I come across one, I'm snapping its neck.
Here's the thing: the mimic, like I said earlier, the mimic itself takes the form of anything that kills it. So in that instance, a frog at an earlier time killed one of the things connected to the hive mind, and it chose to take the form of the frog.
and see, here's the thing about that. Two things really.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's supposed to take the form of things that kill it. It killed itself. But I'm gonna let you have that semantically. But it killed itself. We didn't kill it. It killed
Semantics.
itself.
So
Yeah,
Ezel gets his
semantics.
bracelet off. He survives. Everybody's good, and they become official members of the guild. So they have full rights and privileges as guild members, which leads us to session 4: the bad, the furry, and the deadly. Session 4 has the 5 of you escort a prisoner from Rikasha, which in my mind is a blackety black ass African, a generic. It's Wakanda. It's Wakanda, but instead of purple, it's gold. And leading them to Dionysus and Dianopolis, which is Greece but blacker. So on the airship, everything's fine and dandy. Stuff starts. You
Well, it wasn't.
Hyphen actually finds the first clue of the metal walls on the airship having claw marks torn into them, which leads down the spiral, and Oneki finding out that the captain of the ship is a lonely boy who isn't actually lonely because he's married to his first mate. So that was
Mm.
It,
beautiful.
Did I
and
find?
teaching other
I didn't
humans
find that
aboard the
out.
Yeah,
spaceship.
you because you're the only one who actually talked to the captain because you're the only person who doesn't want to stab people 20 seconds into a conversation. That's a pocket hyphen, not bully for
You keep
once.
you keep a you keep making these shot you keep taking these shots. We really will derail that train in the next session, bro. Don't play with
I
me.
was aiming. That was a,
Wait,
that was
wait,
a
no,
that was a
'cause
picket hyphen, not bully or user.
It was so funny to me the way that Hyphen tried to get information by imitating the captain. Like there's
It
nothing
almost
funnier
worked.
to me
It
than
almost
like
worked.
watch it almost
It
worked, but
almost
there's nothing
worked.
funnier to me than like watching something happen where my character is not around and then in character being like, we should do this thing, knowing fully that we cannot do this thing as a result of the character's actions. Like fully hyphen came to me after they'd like been found out by the captain. They're just like, I need you to help me find some information. And I just told them, let's go ask the captain, as if I had not sat there and heard that fiasco.
So
canonically, Hyphen being our resident druid was changing into, I guess, a wolf form, and all of our players are searching the ship for something that's leaving claw marks. Like it's to the point where I told mysterious demons to eat my ass, trying to provoke a fight. So our goodest friend Hyphen goes into the kitchen area of this ship that we're on,
mhm.
and she's smelling around as a dog. When my character comes from a hallway, not knowing that she's in druid mode as a dog. So I see this creature that can obviously leave claw marks, and I think, hmm, I should peel his motherfucking wig back, no questions asked.
And we're glad you didn't, because that would have been bad.
Honestly,
So it
It's
turns
always
out
nice when we don't kill each other.
always wonderful when that doesn't happen.
it
But
would have been the worst case of mistaken identity.
it turns out that the claw marks were from the fact that the prisoner they were carrying, escorting from Wakanda, gold Wakanda, to black Greece, um, was a Lugaroo, which is essentially the head werewolf, and she had her underlings, a were rat and a werewolf, just messing stuff up on the ship, and they get into a fight. Ezel and Bully are stuck in the room with the Lugaroo while Vesden, Hyphen, and Oneki fight the werewolf and the were rat.
I want to point out, canonically, my character's first instinct was to not escort the prisoner to execution. What it was just to execute her on the spot. That was my character's first instinct. Blow the train up with the prisoner, ensure the prisoner dies at all costs.
That
But
is
then I
true.
got to talking to the prisoner and getting to know her, and then she was kind of
Cheek.
sick.
You
He
say
wanted
getting
to
to know
clap.
her like she was like flirting with you. She was fully threatening to kill all of us the
Quite
entire
literally.
time you
Quite
talked.
literally from the moment no, shut your mouth. No, I'm mad. I'm still mad reliving this. You shut your mouth, Isaac. I don't want to hear you say nothing until we get done talking about the bullshit that was you in this session. This man, quite literally, from the moment he saw her and she said the first thing she said, which was something along the lines of wanting to kill him and take his skin or his hair or something for like a coat. This man was
That bitch was
enamored.
no Birkin
No, no,
case.
no, 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 no. Shut up again. He wanted to have sex with her. He wanted to clap the wolf in cheeks and keep it at that. And the thing is, my character was enthralled with her because he's never met someone who was as on violence for no reason as his grandfather. So that's why my character was enthralled and was a little bit intrigued, but not to the point of wanting to clap their cheeks. My character, would have killed her if the need be, which I tried to fucking do until our resident Minotaur over here decides, yeah, this would be a lovely person to try to clap their cheeks. To the point when they escaped, they did what now? He tried to give her her number. He tried to give her his number. He was like, "Yo, let me talk to you. Do you know?
I
Do
played in
can
her
you tell me?"
DMs by carrier pigeon.
Exactly. Can you tell me where to send the carrier pigeon? Like, excuse me, you just watched her demolish
Oh fuck!
one of your freaking teammates and then damn near kill the other two without even having to do anything. And you're trying to fucking clap the cheek by carrier pigeon? Sir, you need help. You need help.
This is why he's not allowed to
Period.
I'm a
play a bard.
minotaur full of bull testosterone. So when I meet a bitch who got a taste for Birkin coats, just the right thickness, and can actually play rough in the bedroom.
Like she was gonna turn you into a Birkin coat.
I just
The
want
problem.
everyone.
That's why
I
it
just
doesn't make
need all
sense.
the viewers to know. I never. The only. I literally only described her as her name, which is Diola Brando, Dio Brando,
Thick name.
and this is the
You
fact
know
that
you
she's a
gotta be.
werewolf. That's it. That's everything else. Not my description. I just need the
You
universe to know
know
that.
she gotta be thick. How you name Diola and not thick? Like, nigga.
The way that Bully and
Hate it. I
Oneki were
hate it
on
here.
two
I
separate
hate it here.
adventures.
I
Like
hate
Bully
it.
was having the time of his life.
So,
Oneki was like watching all of her teammates be turned into like were animals, like
She
Exactly.
one after the
wanted
other.
to wear my fur
so
as a Birkin coat. I
this,
wanted to wear them thighs as an earmuff. It was fair.
so this whole
What do you have to deal
session,
with?
it ended with Vesden, Ezel, and Hyphen becoming where suffering from lycanthropy essentially, and Diola jumping from the ship over the airs of Quetzalcoatl, the home country of Oneki, and that ended
Wait,
session
no,
four.
what?
Yeah,
Wait, what?
Damn.
Nick, Nick, did you tell me that before I let her go?
yes,
I feel like he did mention
I
it because I
did.
feel like I remember him saying it.
I mentioned that isn't something I just dropped on you now. I mentioned that like over the airspace of Quetzalcoatl is where she jumped. She is somewhere in your home country.
I was about to say, I was like, I
And that's
really
why
feel
it's
like I
the
remember
carrier
that.
pigeon.
Oh, I really need to start paying more attention. Oh, I did not feel bad about letting her go until you just told me that I let her go over our country, over my country.
So
That's a problem.
our session 5, which really wasn't a session 5, but it's fine, um, had everyone going on a trip on a special rocket ship for a one shot. Young Isaac sent me a TikTok of like, hey, make your players like make them make level 20s as broken as they want and see what happens. Which I did. I threw in the world where they had to essentially, I hate to say it, but it is what it is in hindsight. It was essentially the tournament of power with Zeno being a agendered child god who just wants to have fun, and their giant blue butler who just really wants to go to sleep. But he can't because he has to take care of a child who controls and writes the stories and lives of billions of dimensions and planes. Like, think Kang, but a child. Well, Kang from the TVA Marvel live action version doing his thing as a child. So they're doing their thing. They complete the task. They entertain the child god. Oneki's wholesome ass character once again saves the day. So the child god, um, they ask for 3 wishes. Um, 2 of the wishes get turned into 3 favors. So you guys do have 3 favors canonically from an interdimensional being who can call on at any time. Will they approve the favor? Who knows? But Oneki's level 20 character decides to. Wait, do you remember exactly what you did? I can explain it, but I feel it'll be more touching if it's
Right.
from you.
So to give a little bit of context, this was a character that I had played in like another session that had kind of slowly petered out. And so it was a barbarian, a half orc barbarian. She was a stormheld barbarian, which I had a lot of fun with that class. I'm probably going to make a character with that class again in the future, just because it really played into my love for like the drama, especially like with the way that I would describe her techniques. But anyway, her backstory in the other campaign was that she had been a sailor all of her life. She'd fought pirates, gone on many adventures, and she had joined the main part of that other campaign because she had been mentoring a young cabin boy who had had this big dream to like explore the world, and he died because of a situation in which she'd kind of been very stubborn and refused help from people who could have helped them, and he died as a result of them being trapped in a bad situation. And so I just kind of moved her over because, again, like I just love playing the Herald Barbarian. It's very fun, and I wanted to see what I could do with that at level 20. And so when we were given the opportunity to get a wish, and the child god said that they could grant any wish, Oneki asked that if it would be possible, they would resurrect the young boy that she had mentored. Um, and I think what had happened is that the child god asked, they said, if I will do this for you, if you will give up half of your strength, which mechanically was basically just me going down from a level 20 to a level 10. And that is absolutely a trade that on not on Nikki, but Riv, my barbarian, would have made no questions asked because they really did love that kid. And so what happened is that I was bumped down to level 10 at the end of that session, and somewhere out in the wider universe of Vernatu, the young boy from my other campaign is now living a life separated from Riv but alive, and that is really enough for her.
Also, Riv became the new not butler but nanny of the child god, and now the giant blue man can finally take a nap.
Truly just like saw a child and was just like, you know what? I bet you could use like some boundaries, like maybe like a firm mothering figure. Just adopted a god.
So that led that choice you made led directly into session 6, but we have to actually talk about the
The rest
official
of the
session
party.
5, which was the heist.
Oh boy.
So they got a black op mission to essentially steal a black dragon egg from a black market hosted by one of the princes of Ker, which Ker is the land of the dead. That's what I call it. In Mesopotamian mythology, the land of the dead ruled by Reshkigal is called Ker. I really like mythologies outside. I feel like we all love Greek mythology because we're all nerds, and that's like the gateway mythology for most nerds. But learning about other cultures and their mythologies, also dope. That actually bled into a lot of the first campaigns, like pantheons and hierarchy of society because of mythologies. But we'll get to that later. So they go into a bathhouse, get underground, and it's a smooth plan. I'm really proud of the way everyone role played this. It was a plan. Booley was on his shit. Ezel did his thing. And Oneki just charming the daylights out of everybody. Do you guys want to recap? Or do you want me to? Because I'm totally fine with recapping the heist.
I would totally like to recap
Okay,
because
go for it. It's all you, man. I'm here. Oh, you. Oh, wait. You want me to?
I mean, do your part and we'll add in where needed.
Okay. So
But I know from my character's point of view is what he was trained for.
So they get they have to sneak in. Essentially, they have to find the password. They have to find the password, use it, get in, and they get in. They get underground. It's fine. Ezel's drunk as shit. I've never actually had to do alcohol or drug based rolls before, so I'm like, give me a Constitution. If you roll low enough, you're fucked up. I believe Ezel rolled like a 3. He rolled under a 10, so he was fucked up. You guys get
Worth
underground.
it.
Worth it. You guys get underground. You're doing your thing. Boo Lee, fucking full on spy mode. Like he's jacked somebody's uniform. He's following. He studied the rotations of the guards. He's following in where he needs to be. He's doing his thing. Oneki's doing her rich girl thing, going around socializing, and Hyphen is tagging along because Hyphen's a druid, and this is all this immaculate, spectacular stuff. Not their cup of tea, so they're doing the best they can. and they
And I
find.
flirted with myself in the reflection of a mirror because I'm one sexy motherfucker.
Didn't you try to fight yourself at first, and then you wanted to make love to yourself?
So literally, it was. I was like, "Why do you keep you cur?" Oh, I see now. You're a very sexual person. And then literally, I just sat there and like holding conversation with myself in the mirror, and like people pass by, like, "What the fuck is he talking to himself in the mirror? The hell is wrong with this
Who's
man?"
that dog in the mirror? Where did he come from?
Exactly.
So
Spicy boy.
I want to add in, like, from my character's point of view, like, first we had to find the place because we weren't given its exact location. We had like 3 different places we can go in. But like, because my character has worked the streets and has spent so much time canonically hunting down fugitives and things of that nature, he's pretty much learned the language of the streets. And in D&D, that translates to Thieves' Cant,
Mm-hmm.
which is certain symbols and hieroglyphs hidden in places where a normal person wouldn't look. So we found that this underground rich people auction from like the Fast and Furious was being held in his bathhouse, which is a place my character would have loved to go on anyway. We find that it's in a bathhouse, and we find that they have like security guards. What the fuck is happening at my house? Oh my god. Anyways, I'm sorry, y'all. It's a bunch of police. Closed. Can't have nothing in that Austin. So, anyways, we find the bathhouse or whatever is where they're holding this big bastard auction. And I was like, oh, they got guards and they got security. Well, I guess it's finally my time to shine. And the first thing I do is run the fade with one of the guards or whatever, take his uniform and stuff. That way I can blend in with security and figure out what their strength is like. And then the second part of this, even if I don't manage to blend in with security completely, if my friends get into any trouble, I can pretend like I'm going to be the one arresting them. And instead of leading them to a dungeon, I'm going to just lead them out the back door. And then we'll regroup and we'll try to steal this egg again.
I just need
So,
I need everyone to know that session was the least horny and violent we have ever seen Bully. Like Bully on a mission? Chef kiss.
Just wait until 6.
Oh, true. That oh god, you're right. I'm so sad you missed that session on Neki. That was beautiful. So they essentially in session 5 ends with them getting out with the stuff and Hyphen meeting the fifth prince of Kerr, whose name is Ignacio. He's based off Lil Nas X King of Hell character.
oh wow.
Yeah. Looks just like him, like blazing blood red locks, blood red wings, eyes of fire, all that jazz. And Ignacio tells Hyphen the hags are looking for you and she can't protect you. So Hyphen's freaking out like, who's she? Why are the hags looking for me? And who is she? So that's a thing that's going to also be brought to light really soon in the coming sessions. So that's something I'm really excited for everyone to just have a full circle about. And then we hit session 6.
Before we do that, can I say that one of my favorite moments?
Before we get to 6, hold on. We need to back up because my character went through a very transformative time. So
Wait.
the session,
Oneki was first. We have to take turns before you talk about your emotional moments.
It's very short. I can't remember why, but I remember that I was trying to like distract one of the workers from something, like one of the waiters at the event, and I convinced him to take me back to like the room where all of the other workers were chilling out. And I was just like, come on, like rich people don't have good alcohol.
Okay, so I remember why you were trying to distract them is because we had gotten into the room with the treasure we were trying to steal, and you had distracted them by basically saying like, "Oh my god, I lost my earring." I think it was like something that was like really expensive and like cost a lot of money, and you were just like, "Oh my god, I'm so upset with me." saying? Like, you got the like people to be distracted so that way we could get what we needed to get.
Right. Yes, I had.
Had Lay Assassin in it.
Exactly that.
It was a very Ocean's 11-ish episode, and our resident rogue missed it, but everyone pulled together. And Oneki's rich girl routine, yeah,
It actually quite literally saved our lives. I
it
just want you.
it did. It
Um,
saved everyone's lives. So thank you, Oneki, for saving our lives.
because during that session, I actually get near death. And during that near death, I actually see my grandfather who had passed away. Canonically, my character, I believe, is like 50 something years old. I got to go back to my character sheet. His grandfather, or their grandfather, has been dead since they were around 20 something. And because of the order of their clan, he never got to spend, or my character Uzale never got to spend that much time with their grandfather because their grandfather was actually over the clan, leading the clan, and yes, Osiris loved his grandchild, but at the same time, he was like, I have to put my duty as the leader first, so I'm sorry, I can't. And Osiris got killed in a battle. Um, so in between sessions, um, our DM was thankful enough to let me do this. I wrote out a story where after this mission, because of the fact that I went to, um, because of the fact that I went to the near death and I saw my grandfather, I needed to go to the land of the dead in order to see him and talk to him and figure out like, oh my God, what happened? Why am I not where you were at this point in your life? You were grand champion. You were literally a god slayer. Why can I not get to that point? So he makes it to they make it to the land of the dead. They do a ritual and they meet their grandfather Osiris. They have a long training session. They spend a lot of time together. He teaches them 2 new spells, and he also attunes his family heirloom great axe, which up to that point, after the passing of Osiris, had not been used in battle because of the fact that, like, hey, that was his great axe. Nobody else is gonna get the right to use it. But Osiris attuned it to Uzale as a show of good faith and a show of pride in him and his clan because because Uzale is one of the only ones who continued to try to fight for the honor of the clan after his passing. Everybody else kind of was like, well, now that our leader's dead, we're just going to kind of move into society and let things happen how they happen. But Uzale was like, no, we need to continue our creed and continue the honor of our clan. So now he has a sword, 2 spells, and he's still he everything that Uzale does is to try and win the praise of his grandfather because he knows that once you don't know that once they die, which is something I did want to talk to you about, DM, that there's actually something else on this mortal world that's waiting for Uzale.
Sir, I'm going to have to slow. You're going to slow down with homebrews and use the God given items that Gary Gynax gave
No,
you.
no. It's not an item. It's something else. It's something that I want to tie into the story for the off chance of him dying. Uzale dying. That's all. It's not a homebrew.
I know you
Well,
can't see me, but I'm looking very suspiciously.
it's technically not a homebrew. It's not a spell. It's not a weapon.
We have made this man both traumatized by homebrews and things found in the game.
Right, but like, it's not. It's not going to be that. Just it's something that's going to tie into the story and also tie into a lot of the motivations for Uzale. Just to give you that much of what I'm looking for, and I will talk to you about that at a later day outside of this. But there you go.
So, speaking of the dad, what? Question.
Lord have mercy.
Yes, Mr. Question, yes. Oh.
Isaac.
Did you have a question?
I was saying somebody got shot in my neighborhood. That's what it was.
Oh. Don't go outside.
Hey, bro, be safe.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm already out here. I'm shut up anyway. Like people say the hood be dangerous, but generally you don't get shot unless you do something to deserve it. Like that's generally how it works. I don't know what they did to make these niggas mad, but it is what it is.
You're
So
not wrong. As
So
somebody who raised in the hood by his grandparents, you're not wrong, but be safe out there, boy.
word. So speaking of Mr. Daddy issues,
Wow. I find I take quarrel with that call out,
is
sir.
it because I'm wrong or because I'm right and you don't want to admit it?
It's because you're wrong. Thank you.
Okay, specify granddaddy issues. Oh, Neki, you
I,
missed this
I'm
last
gonna hang
week, but this golden roleplay episode would have been right up your alley because this led to session 6. So, the wish you. So, remember how you undid the lycanthropy, right?
Yep.
So,
I
the child
love
god works in the sense of equivalent exchange of if they could take away the lycanthropy, but they would have to replace it with something else because they're a child and they're a dick. So
Fair.
we have to
sounds like
rewind back to session 4 when Diola Brando hopped off the plane, hopped off the airship. She's free falling over the airspace of Greta Coatl. Time kind of freezes for a second, but to the average viewer, it's a blink of an eye. And Diola changes from a Lugaroo to a cult member. And she lands somewhere in the jungle of Gretel Coatl, and she finds a creature covered, like all black creature with red eyes, covered in like bony armor. And she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna fuck shit up with this." So we're gonna see where that goes. But in lieu of the lycanthropy, Hyphen, Ezel, and Vesden now have a dark gift, which is the voice of someone close to them whispering in their head at all times. Now, Vesden, who is the oh god, he's gonna kill me. He's going he is
I'll
going
give
to
you a hint. He's a wizard.
what's his name again? Oh my gosh, I feel so bad for not
He was
remembering.
my best friend, bro, in campaign one.
I know he was your bestie. So essentially, Vesden is the adopted son of a character from my first campaign who's canonically the last surviving member of the first campaign's group. And he has his father's voice in his head telling him how disappointed he is for the life that Vesden is living. And Ezel has his grandfather's voice saying, just clowning on him, telling him how disappointed he is, how weak he is, essentially downing his very existence in the back of his head constantly. And Hyphen, who is being hunted by hags, has the voice of the hags in their head on some "we're gonna get you" type energy. Now, fast forward to session 6. All of you wake up on a train for some reason. Shanti explains it as all of you are going to Zagreus to compete in the right. And if you win or place high enough in the right, which is the Intercontinental Fighting Tournament, because every good story needs a tournament arc. Anime taught us all that. Um, you
Woo,
win
shooting exams. Let's go.
you win a minor wish spell that you could use to uncurse yourself because the resident cleric of the guild couldn't undo the dark gift, but a minor wish spell could.
Question:
Yes.
do we each win a minor wish, or do we
Only one person gets it.
only one person? But we all gotta work for it, huh?
I mean, if you place high enough, whoever places the highest gets the minor wish. So fight on.
Oh, I'm finna be evil with mine.
So, Oneki, and you would have loved this. So after the train conductor takes the ticket, like marks the ticket that everyone has for the train ride, um, the train is boarded by bandits. Of course, Bully kills them.
I did
Bully and
not.
Ezel kill him. Ezel with his 48 hit point attack, and Bully being Bully. Now,
I was gonna derail the train. I was headed exactly for the driver's compartment. I was gonna yank that steering wheel as left as I could fucking get it.
he was. So that led to the fact that everyone became hypnotized. They fell into a trance where they lived out their greatest fantasy. For Vesden, he was living out being like his father's second in command in the Magic Academy that's in Aten, which is our version of like Egypt for like a superstorm filled Egypt. Vesden
Mhm.
was doing his living his best life as a teacher in the Magic Academy. Hyphen was back in their druid village with their adopted parents because they killed the hags. So Hyphen's free to do whatever they want. Um, young Isaac, do you want to tell us the dream that Boo Lee had and got to live out?
Yes, yes, I do. So, as some of you might recall, my character has pretty much been raised in his ninja warrior village society. All he's ever known is pain from training and killing shit. But uncharacteristically, his whole dream, his most ideal life, he was but a peaceful farmer with a wife and three children that he lived with his whole the first time that my character has known what some would describe as peace. He had never knew how fucked up the life he was living was before because he had no standard or measurement to measure it against. When you're raised in chaos and trauma and mistreatment, and that's all you ever know, you don't know that you're not supposed to be living that way. So my character has this beautiful family and his wife that he loves very much that he'd do anything for, and the dream is going so well up until it gets about nighttime. See, in this dream, my wife is the werewolf woman from before, and this was the night that she was supposed to turn, which she did. One moment, I'm in the basement with her, and I'm making sure that she's chained to the wall properly before she turns into werewolf mode. And as I'm doing this, my youngest daughter, my beloved baby girl, tugs on my cloaks. And she's like, Daddy, I had a nightmare. And all my attention innocent child whom I love with my whole heart. Before I knew what was going on, I felt something hit the back of my head, and it was the chain. The chain that was holding my werewolf wife to the wall. It had broken, she had gotten free. Instinctively, like a good father, I covered my child to protect her from whatever danger was about to come. My wife brushed past us. I was screaming from upstairs. My second child and my third child, nowhere to be seen until I run up the stairs and in the living room. My second child is a bloodied and battered mess, but thankfully I know just enough about certain herbs and spices that I could diagnose a little something something and keep my child from dying. And then I go to the bedrooms where my oldest child is supposed to be. My oldest daughter was nowhere near her bedroom. My heart sank. There was bloody footprints leading from the bedroom to the front door. I thought I could stay here and I could look for my child some more. Or I could possibly follow these footprints because if my wife has a hold of my child and my child dies, what will I do with myself? I couldn't stand that thought. If the child was at the house, they'd turn up later. So I followed the footprints. I followed those blood covered footprints deep into the forest. And as I'm doing this, my character feels as if he's done this before, tracked different creatures in a very similar manner. And he starts to realize that maybe things aren't as they seem, but he can't quite place it. So I follow these footprints through the forest in the clearing. I see my wife of all people, of all creatures, with my child in hand, and I managed to lure my wife away from my injured child with a slab of meat and a mating call. Yeah, I know you got questions about that. Anyways, I managed
We
to secure
don't.
my child, but my wife runs off into the night. I see in the distance the townspeople are coming. They've got torches and pitchforks and they're screaming, "Kill the werewolf! Kill the werewolf!" And I'm forced to make a choice between saving the life of my innocent child and saving the love, the wonderful love, my soulmate whom I adore with everything in me. I cannot do both. So I picked a child. A father's love knows no bounds. I'll find another woman, but I cannot replace this specific child. Everything is starting to go wrong in this dream for me, but luckily, my party comes and they wake me up. Now, in hindsight, they saved me from whatever funky magic was going on. But in reality, my character is awash with a different kind of pain and agony because that was, again, literally his best life. And now he is self aware of all the trauma and emotional baggage that has been inflicted on him for the last 24 years. And he is not a happy camper. He flies into what's best described as a blind rage, shaking and hollering and smacking 10-year-olds on the train like they're stepchildren.
He did smack a random child for no reason. And Ezel, you want to talk about your fun experience on the train?
I will talk about my absolutely heartbreaking and uncharacteristic experience. So, to give backstory, add up to this point, you know my character is very violent, on violence whenever he can, because he wants to live up. They want to live up to the legacy that their grandfather Osiris left behind. In this dream, Uzel wakes up in the throne room of Osiris, and Osiris is given Uzel second in command, meaning the only person who was above Uzel in the Orc clan is Osiris himself. They go to battle, and everything seems to be going well until Uzel hears a scream. That scream is Osiris. He makes his way over and he finds Osiris pincushioned essentially. Think Jiraiya from Naruto, but like arrows instead of pillars.
See, I was actually thinking more Whitebeard in his last stand, because his last stand was high
Wow.
key more badass than Jiraiya's.
Okay,
Sir,
but like the reason I said
I might
Jiraiya
have
is
Uriah's
because
plan.
the reason I said Jiraiya is because it I equated the heartbreak of Jiraiya to this of Osiris, or at least it was to me. I
Okay,
literally lost
Nagato.
my father figure. Anyway, so Yuzeo, being uncharacteristic of what orcs truly are, tries his best to convince Osiris to get healing. Tries to get Osiris to say, please, just heal him. That's all you need to do, just heal him. And it doesn't work. I actually punch a medic like square in the chest and send her flying roughly 20 to anywhere between 20 and 50 feet. I don't know. I don't remember specifically. I just know I punched the shit out of her. And I still haven't apologized to her in my dreams, so that is what it is. Um, After the war, of which Giselle actually put an end to it single-handedly. Like Giselle took it from them. After the war, because Giselle was second in command, Giselle is now the leader of the Orcan clan and of the specific creed that is their family. Back at their home compound, there's a funeral being held in Osiris's honor. Everyone from the clan is there except for Giselle, who is in the throne room. And in a moment of pure and as emotionally open as Giselle could ever be, Giselle has a full-on breakdown in the throne. Hand face covered by his hand, sobbing at the fact that like they feel like the death of their grandfather was their fault because they weren't a good second-hand man. Because of that, like Giselle wanted to be the leader. They wanted to control the orcish clan and creed by any means necessary, but at the death of their grandfather, this was more than Uzel could handle. So Uzel had a full-on breakdown in the throne room. Nobody is around, just the fire and the paintings and him. And they're just a full-on breakdown. And I'm talking like anybody passing the throne room would hear the sounds of sorrow and just mourning because of how heartbroken Uzel is on what happened.
So yeah, uh, and
Ah,
all this ties together because Shanti
How you
had to
feeling,
wake them
Chili?
up. Um,
How you feeling, Chili?
you guys really came for my RP crown in the one session I wasn't there to defend my title, man. Like, good
yeah,
job.
Like, yo, I and the thing is, and I'll say that this is off tabletop. I love sessions where we get to role play heavily. Like those are the sessions like and just take a few steps back. Our DM said, I don't like shooting ideas down, but like if we could do more sessions where it's role play heavy versus numbers and rolling dice and actually using the role play to tell the story and drive the story, I would love that. And I would push those. That's why when I did my one shot, I tried to have it be more role play based than actual numbers and dice rolling because I was like, let's tell the story. So that's why I took last week and I made every advantage of getting the role play that I could.
it was definitely a golden session, and all tied together because Shanti was the one waking them up from their dreams slash nightmares.
Oh, I should ask now. Does this mean that like Aneki is going to be woken up from a nightmare at the start of the next session?
You have to see next week.
Should I be prepared? Oh,
You guys,
ominous.
so we actually left session 6 with on a cliffhanger with Bully like, yo, I want to get. So essentially, Oneki and Shanti went to the back of the car to try to make sure that the civilians who were there were safe, and the and everybody else were heading towards the front. And Bully was like, I'm getting on top of the train, and that's where we left off on session 6. But I did session 6 a disservice in the recap because all of the really funny what's going on situations all happened because a young woman asked how long everybody was on the train because she's
Oh
been riding
yeah.
the train for 1,000 years so she can get to the city and study how to be an artificer under the great fairy king Iskandar. And for
Yeah,
people,
I
everyone
forgot.
who doesn't know, or the Fey King, who was the big bad evil guy of my first campaign, his name was Iskandar because he possessed an Asimar, took over his body after letting him die, and essentially just took over his body and kept the name Iskandar. So the little girl, so the young woman, came from a different plane, a timeline, if you will, where the Fairy King won, and all of you from the first campaign lost.
I don't like the fact that he chose to be an artificer. Mavage is the great artificer around here.
I mean, when you think about it, if he's a fairy of technology, artificing is technology.
Also, I just do want to mention, we definitely overskipped all of that. Um, I jacked up and Chili. I feel like you probably would have been the like person to jump in the middle of this, but when she mentioned the name of the former king of the tower and spoke down on my grandfather, I definitely might have definitely jacked her up and like thrown her against a wall while still jacking her up to be like, don't you ever disrespect my grandfather's legacy like that ever again.
I
And
broke
so
Really?
federal law by impersonating a doctor and took her blood sample just to see if she would bleed that infamous purple ooze.
Also, the young woman was a human, just a regular human, not an elf, not a fae, Just a human riding a train to the city for 1,000 years.
Every session, I remember that my original plan was to have Oneki act as like the hype man of the party and try to like establish us as heroes. And I do not know how I would go about doing that at this point. I might have to give up that mission.
Just randomly assaulting people. The heroes we deserve.
All right, to be fair, we killed like 8 or 10 bandits or whatever
Or
in
did
front
you?
of everybody. I mean, whose heart did I rip open and eat and was bleeding all over my chest?
So that's the fun part. You'll have to find out what was a dream, what wasn't a dream. Are you still dreaming? Who knows? We'll find out.
Dreaming out, I'm blowing this train up because I regret not blowing up the first train. So I got to blow up at least one train to get that regret out of my system.
The man with the fucking Constitution level 19, with a 19 Constitution, and a party whose Constitution. Oh, Nick is probably the closest one in Constitution to you.
That doesn't sound good. I'm not looking at my character sheet, but
I mean,
I don't
just
like the
based
sound of
like
that.
just based off race, because you're a giant and he's a minotaur. Everybody else is like an elf.
Right. Right. I also do have like resistance to some damages, but speaking of which,
He's
if
always a murder hobo until the DM's minions are whooping their asses. Someone has to kill them somehow.
Back.
speaking of which, if we can make requests for the campaign, I do want to go visit my husband from like the past campaign. Like at least once I do, like Oneki has absolutely no connection to him, but I'd love to just see how he's doing.
So I actually have a thing planned for that when you guys have fun in Greta Quaddle, because I do have a plan to try. So, so for everyone listening, oh, that was a loud. That's right over the house. Golly. But for everyone listening, before we started this campaign, I asked everyone like, "Hey, what would you guys like to see for your characters in this campaign?" And everybody gave me a list, and I'm doing my best. We're only 7 sessions in, but I'm trying my best to tie everyone's in while also tying in what I want to see. So, collaborative storytelling.
I
I
had one
mean,
that's a side arc, but I've pretty much abandoned it because I know it's not going to go well, but I got to pitch it anyway. Closed mouths do not get fed.
Closed mouths do not get
So,
fed.
so in the village that Bully is from, um, my character from the first campaign pretty much made a warforge and instilled it with his personality and all the training that he had up until that point. This warforge has had 250 years to train even more and get even more powerful, with literally the god of war training him and stuff on the regular. Now, this warforge has also had time to hold all the artifacts and gears and things and improve his warfighting capability. Like, think Batman and Iron Man had a love child of violence. And so, one of the artifacts that this character has is the original antimatter rifle, and it's in a safe somewhere waiting until things go wrong. If my character was to just inherit that rifle for when things inevitably go wrong in that campaign, that would be a very satisfying thing.
See, I'll have to say this because the way you wrote your character, you're just, you're not Naruto. So we have to work out a way for you to go from like a regular, degular, generic ninja number 5 to being Naruto of your village, and then we'll talk.
Well,
Because that's the
I
way
hope that we level up soon.
that's the way you wrote your character. Of it wasn't a hey, this is the grandson of Maverick adopted, or the adopted son of the robot. Is I was born in the village. I trained. I got my ass beat. I've been abused, and now I'm abusing everyone else.
This is a rags to riches story, my boy. Rags to riches. I
Exactly.
thought we
So you got
leveled
to
up a little
earn that
faster.
rifle.
I'm
I
trying to.
do.
I'm stuck at level 4 for like the last 3 sessions.
I do have to say, Nick, in terms of like just like checking up on like our past characters, a thing that you did that I didn't even like write into what I wanted to happen for Relu that like really makes me almost cry every time I think of it is like the fact that like all of the hospitals in this land are named after her and like they are based on her system of healing. Like that really does mean a lot to me.
Of course. So I'm glad you mentioned that because D&D, the only type of medicine, centralized medicine they have are random potion shops. And I'm thinking if this is future, if it's like Afrofuturism to a degree, there's gonna be hospitals. And Relu's character, the she again another giant woman in the first campaign. Her whole deal was searching the world for different poisons to test out, how potent they are, if they work, can they be used for other forms. So in New Vernatu, every medical center is the Relubi Memorial Hospital. So when you're out and about as players, you can stop in, get a quick shot, get an anti venom shot, and go about your business. Because, if the person who saved the world and got a husband by poisoning him consistently out of love can't start a hospital, what's the point of poisoning people?
Exactly. See, you get real. You understood what she was on.
And as far as Giltree, that's his name. So Giltree's character actually started the magic school that
Bro, it took you
everybody
that
on New
long?
Vernatu goes to learn magic. Maverick started a whole ass gang, a gang of bullies, and
Ah,
and
it's fun
fucking
because of the bully.
Osiris created an echo chamber of people saying Osiris rocks.
Okay, but all Osiris did was create an entire generation slash clan slash army slash creed of people who are all on violence under his command. Like,
So an
was
echo
that
chamber
so
of
bad?
Osiris rocks. So I hope I'm doing everyone justice in what I thought their characters would do in the sense of, hey, we're in a brand new world, nothing's established, let's figure this shit out. So, and for the most part, young Isaac actually brought the idea of Maverick creating his village to me. I was like, fuck, yeah, let's do this shit. And same with JB, he brought up the idea. So I'm really glad that you enjoy the Relu Memorial Hospital, Chili. I really do enjoy it. I'm like, will she like that? Will she vibe with that? And she did.
To be fair, like I fully expected just because like all of the rest were like interdimensional heroes and like Rilla was just like a person who lived in the tower. Like she wanted to save people because she lived there and her entire family was there too. Just like this is my home. I like she was like very much on like the Starlet, just like I live on this fucking planet, my dude. You can't blow it up, kind of thing. And so like I fully expected her to kind of like Granny Weatherwax, like be like a witch kind of figure in the village. And knowing that she actually like started a system of hospitals is so funny because I can only imagine what like the classes for those doctors were like.
Poisoning
Like just
101.
Right. Just
Poison.
casually getting poisoned on a Tuesday. This is all a part of your training. You need to know how to survive one of these types of poisonings.
Like, hello, ma'am, I pay tuition. Are you just going to poison me for the next 4 years?
Yep,
Yes.
exactly. Now you're getting it.
But so that's where we are in the story so far. We do sessions most Thursdays at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time or daylight time, depending on where we are in the year. I was told EDT by a but actually individuals, so here we are in this world now. Do you guys have anything you want to boost? Like any promo stuff you guys may have?
I mean,
I would like to plug Coors. The vodka is the number 3 best-selling vodka in the world, and it goes down like water. Like if you're going to drink Giggle Juice, drink Coors. You can mix it with anything. You won't taste it, but you're damn sure will feel it.
You better be paid for
Also,
that.
make a point of saying we are not sponsored by them, but if they would like to sponsor us, come to my channel. I use that as a segue, baby. Yes, sir, I did. Um, Come to my Facebook page, Tunes and Goons. I stream every week. I stream actually alternating scheduled. So this week was Monday, Tuesday, and tomorrow night. Next week will be Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I currently am streaming Fortnite and Pokemon Emerald Nuzlocke randomized. Well, it's actually Drunk Lock because I incorporate alcohol in my streams. Um, but I call it spicy water.
Brought to you by Coors Vodka.
If they want to sponsor me, we'll see what's up. So we go from there. I also have a YouTube channel by the same name. I'm going to start editing clips and highlights and posting them both on Facebook and the YouTube. Tunes and Goons, TOONZ, in apostrophe GOONZ. Tunes and Goons. My logo is currently a wizard with the name Tunes and Goons underneath it. Until I get money to be able to pay for somebody to give me a custom thing, I just had to use a free app for now.
All right. What about you, Chill? Do you have anything you want to plug?
I guess if people are interested, they could maybe follow me on TikTok. I'm under the name Burn Towns Get Money. As you may have noticed, I am a big Dimension 20 fan. So while I'm here, I'm going to plug Dimension 20. They are not sponsoring us or paying me, but it's a good show.
It
You
is.
should watch it.
Brandon Lee Mulligan is a delightful human being.
But
Also,
if you need some voice actors, come to us because we
Did someone die? No. Did someone unalive? That's what TikTok says I have to say, so I don't get demonetized.
I'll be that guy by my house. But anyways,
also, if you are interested in Afrofuturism and D&D, listen to Three Black Halflings. They also do not pay us, but they're fucking awesome.
Hey,
They're very good.
corn cob is the best cob. But yeah, so we're gonna try to make this a regular thing Thursday nights, and it'll be on this Twitch channel you're watching now, the Subpar Potatoes. Thanks for hanging on the couch with us. All right.
That's of it. Subpar potatoes. I've been looking for it for like the past half hour.
Subpar Potatoes.
That's crazy.
The Subpar Gaming Potatoes, because we're couch potatoes and we're kind of mid at video games.
You said subpar gaming potato?
It's just here. I'll post the link. I'll drop the link. I got you, and we follow back because we're not jerks.
I think I found you.
But all right. Hope all the viewers have a good night. I hope you guys enjoy this and hopefully enjoy future episodes. Deuces.
remember, players, don't let your DM gaslight you. Choose violence, because those characters were destined to die anyway.
Yo, that's fucking dark.